Welcome to the BANGover Podcast. Hello, I'm Scott Allen. This is Chris Myers. We brought our instruments
Hello.
again.
Yes.
And today's episode is the anniversary of 2 albums, 2 bands, back to back. We bit off more than we can chew with this one, Chris. Like, I woke up just like feeling worried, but I'm feeling better now, and because we've been playing through it a little bit. And well, let's talk about it. It's Anthrax, Spreading the Disease, right? Released in 1985.
Let me get some facts here on this one. Released on October 30th. So we have a Halloween release here, or pre-Halloween, right? 31st. So.
Yeah. And then 5 days before.
5 days before was Celtic Frost.
Right.
How
do you say it?
I got to pull this one up.
Mega
Therion. That's
how could I forget that?
Yeah.
That's the coolest name I've ever heard. Anthrax, definitely, yeah.
And that was on the 27th of October. So
3 days.
3 days. So that's we're going to go over, we'll talk about Anthrax first as we led in with Madhouse.
Yeah. I thought we would start with Anthrax because I wasn't that familiar with this album. If you had like a soundboard drop right now, you should just like have people booing at me and stuff. I'm like, you said you were a metalhead. And I'm like, I apologize. I listened to it, but I always thought this album was kind of, it wasn't among the living. And every time I listen to this album or hear anything Anthrax-wise, I just immediately like switch over. I'm like, I have to hear those songs. But I was listening, like it takes a little bit of time for it to grow on you. You know what I mean? So doing the research, I'm like, it's starting to grow and like immediately like stuck in my head right away. You know what I mean? Like turn it off and all I can think of is I'm just like, and oh my God. It's, this album's kind of weird because I don't know. It doesn't sound too much like a thrash album. It's getting to thrash. Like it's definitely there in so many parts. But there was like a couple of times where I was just like, I guess the singer's so new, and he's coming from like that hair metal, like kind of more like, arena type bands at the time, like Whitesnake and shit or whatever.
Well, we watched this interview with them, right? Celebrating the 30th anniversary.
Right.
Because this is the 35th anniversary.
That was 5 years ago.
So they did like a sort of, it was Charlie and Scott. They did, wasn't it Charlie? Isn't that the drummer?
Yeah.
Let's go over the drummer's name real quick.
So Charlie and there was obviously Scott Ian. I forget the last name of the bass player.
So you got Joey Belladonna, lead vocals. Dan Spitz is the rhythm and lead guitar. Scott Ian, rhythm and lead. Both of those are also backing vocals. Frank Baio on bass.
Frankie.
On bass and backing. And then Charlie Benante on drums. And let's finish it off with production. John Zazula, executive producer. Carl Kennedy, producer, assistant engineer. Alexis Imperialis engineer, and Norman Dunn assistant engineer. That's
Mega
it.
Force
4
records.
Well, it's just 4 people made the album.
Yeah. It's your classic rock and roll story when it comes to this band.
Yeah, Mega Force Island Records.
They're one of the big 4, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, and it's because they fought like hell to get there. You know what I mean? Everyone else around them was already like kind of like popping up, like getting started. I mean, we talked about the at the same year, this is when Megadeth comes out,
Mm-hmm.
And I think
we've talked about a lot of
albums.
Exactly.
So before this, and he's trying to like, he said as soon as you heard that Metallica album, Ride the Lightning, because that's technically the first one. that they wanted like more in on that style, you know, like
Yeah.
blistering fast, like fucking bam, 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 and just it wasn't like right away got a record contract for Anthrax. It was more like kept hounding that record producer, all like over and over again, sending a demo and just being like, I don't like it, and then being like, okay, and then going back,
Yeah.
re-recording, bringing it back, and it's getting there,
Yeah.
So it was a struggle for him to like get Anthrax to be signed. He was even there like helping bands like Metallica when they came into town. You know what I mean? Like, because all these people were poor.
Yeah.
They were like, we gave them a toaster oven and a little fridge to put our beers in. And I'm dry mouth right now.
Yeah. Well, we
these
watched this.
songs.
We watched this interview with them, and they were talking
Speed
about
metal.
the anniversary and how like the making of the album and just the making of the band and how like Joey joined on for this album, and they had written pretty much the whole album without a singer, so they have like this whole
Because okay, so let's get into it a little bit more. Like, not the main five that you listed off were not the main five. It had countless members from definitely a different bass player and singer. Drummer's always been there.
We're at the time of thrash where
Charlie's always been there.
Everyone's like trying to figure out their band. You know what I mean? Like Metallica is still.
It's the turn. You know what I mean? It happened within like 83.
I don't know. Was Slayer the original members? Did they have different drummer and stuff?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So what it was like they just had another singer and still trying to go for that same sound. And fun fact, Charlie and Frankie are related. So I say brother band, but he's actually like Charlie is Frankie's uncle. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's his brother's youngest son is Frankie, or his sister's youngest son is Frankie, and they grew up together playing. And Charlie's older, and then that's kind of like where like how they're able to groove like that. And all the albums, I'm just always so impressed by the rhythm section, especially the bass. It's so cutting edge. Like, I don't know why not every bass player want to sound that way.
That bass player does, yeah.
Why do you not want to sound that way? You know what I mean? Like, that is the best bass I've ever fucking heard. I just love it. I love it. I just eat it up. It's all I can focus on. And I was really hoping you would just bring the bass today. I know Scotty Ian, legendary guitar player, but to really explain some of these songs, we're not going to do it justice without that bass, and especially the vocals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's more epic than just the drums and the guitar. But this is where most songs start, is with drums and guitar. You know what I mean?
Especially this album. This
work
is like
it out, and then we give it to everyone else.
It probably should be more vocals because this is where Anthrax gets that style. Like,
and it differentiates, makes them different from everyone else.
Every other thrash band that's out there trying to do something.
Because they have like a well-trained singer.
Yeah, and so that's interesting in that they're still in this group of Big Four, but they're trying to do something different. This is also the album of the start of that different sound.
Yeah,
that kind of like
blistering fast.
Yeah,
they even said like going into the studio on this one. Going in there with a demo that has some of the same songs already, but they're also writing inside the studio, and it totally changed inside the studio. They had an idea, but when they went in there and started working and really laying things out, things started to kind of like change a little bit. And this ain't even their first album, really. It's more of their second album, if you want to be, exactly, because what is it? Fist of Metal,
Fistful of Steel, or something like that. Fistful of
some 80s power band title for sure. I wish I knew exactly what that was, but so this is kind of like the second album, you know what I mean? And I think even on that first album, that's a different singer.
Fistful of Metal.
There you go. How can you forget?
So yeah, I mean, it's
the new singer now, you know what I mean? And that's what they were saying, like. So I guess that's why some songs just sound a little.
Charlie also said he took over the
musical
arrangement of everything. So
and then Scott wrote all the vocals, and this guy has to come in and like learn other people's stuff. You know what I mean? So it's great for what it is because these guys probably worked like hell to get it out there. But obviously it gets better, with their next album.
Yeah.
In my opinion, a lot.
Well, this one is,
it's a lot.
A lot of acclaim for it, as far as there's a lot of songs that are like, well liked, as far as
I mean, Madhouse, right? That's what we opened up with.
Yeah.
We just give you a little snippet of songs so we don't get flagged over here.
Yeah. But yeah, A.I.R, Madhouse, Armed and Dangerous, Medusa, Gung Ho, all of those songs are like on their greatest hits, and
They're really good songs.
Yeah, this is another like example of where like this is a pinnacle album in their.
Yeah.
Not only is it like the first for a lot of stuff, but it has a lot of their hits,
and it's a very iconic cover. Album cover for sure. It's so awesome. It's like top 10 best fucking album covers. I don't know, like at least top 100. There's a lot.
Yeah, this it's got 9 songs total, and roughly is about 43 minutes. There's other editions of the album, like 30th Anniversary,
for sure,
that had one bonus track, which was the demo for Medusa, and then let's see. Oh, then the second disc had a whole live. Had some live stuff, and it had just like looks like demo pieces from like the album, basically. So it's a good history kind of dive to go back and listen to the Anniversary edition, because you get all these pieces. Even hearing the songs live are weird, you know what I mean? Because they're really fast. Like they do the whole like classic thrash thing where they speed everything up just a little bit, where it like makes it more intense.
Right. I'm sure that singer did not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was another funny story with it too. Randy, is that the singer's name? Man, I fucking suck at podcasting. Joey. All right.
Yeah.
How did I forget this? So Joey's never seen like a crowd like that. Well, not those type of people. Like more of like your punk rock type.
What was it? Billy had to like introduce him or something like that.
So funny story. We talked about how 35th Anniversary, again, everything's lining up like the stars, man, of thrash metal. We're starting to make this fucking star system of Dimebag Darrell, But we talked about SOD and how like the scrap of this was the SOD album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, we got a little bit of time left, so let's record a whole 30-track album. Right there. So everything's on Megaforce. We hear about this because MOD, you know what I mean? So like already kind of like doing stuff out there in that hardcore scene. I'm not sure what you want to call it, because we would say thrash. They said speed metal. Some people say hardcore, crossover. Who cares? These are descriptive words. You know what I mean? So please leave a comment and ridicule the shit out of me for not knowing anything about music, because I don't really care about what you call it. It was more, those are the words you're going to get someone in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does it sound like? It sounds like speed metal, or it sounds like thrash metal. You should be able to have an idea of what that's going to sound like. So you're not just like getting fooled. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is also
something up.
A time of divisiveness in metal. You know what I mean? Right now, everything in metal is cool. Like we live in a kind of peaceful time in our current metal situation, but there was a time where you get made fun of for the jacket or for the patch you have on, and if you don't have this patch or you do have this patch, like this is that era of like arena metal where you're going and you're kind of like tailgating almost,
where the classic stereotype of a metalhead comes from is like being formed at this time.
Exactly. And like this is one of those bands that people are like,
Anthrax.
Exactly.
Anthrax,
you either hate them or you love them because of the singer, because of the way they sound.
They treat it like a football team as well, like their fans. I swear to God.
And we're going to be talking about Celtic Frost later, but and at the same time,
different.
But that's exactly we're dealing with. Like if you had a Celtic, I don't know if you would see somebody at this time having an Anthrax and a Celtic Frost. You would if they're like a true they're into everything.
Music fan, yeah.
But I see
Metal
that
fan,
that's where you have some divisiveness. You have these people that are like, Anthrax, fuck that. I'm into like Celtic Frost.
Because
and
they
dark.
sell too many albums and they play in bigger arenas, you know what I mean? And Celtic Frost probably just comes to town and like rips apart your like
Celtic
medium-sized
Frost is
club,
like
if you
starting
will.
this black metal thing. You know, it's like
And
death metal, black metal
yeah,
sort of sound.
and get me. They're from like England, right? Or from across the pond, somewhere over there, and that changes everything when it comes to like because of how their fans over there probably loved it. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, it's super weird. People in England love music more than America.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Well, it's just that it's also a different time in metal for them too. Like this,
we have the British metal, you know, and
We're-
again, Judas Priest changed the game, you know, so it's like, oh shit, we gotta fucking take it up, and then Metallica changes the game, and you're like, oh shit, you know,
that
like
Big
everyone
Four
gotta
thing
fucking get faster on drums.
is like American-made metal in a sense. The Big Four, because it's like there were a lot of other bands, like you're saying, that were big from across the pond.
Come on. West Coast thrash metal, and this is more like in New York too. So this is on the other side of like America, which might as well be a different country, you know, at times.
Yeah.
If you talked about like the Big Four, what is that? All in L.A. and then Anthrax over here in New York. And who else?
Yeah.
I mean, Cro-Mags, they were fucking insanely hardcore. You know what I mean? And I think it's a different mentality.
But it's just their influence on everything. So it's like, you know, Celtic Frost probably is like a Big Four of, you know, that time in that style of.
I put them up there next to Venom and two others that I can't think of it right now of that style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a weird style. It's not. It is thrash metal. I would call Celtic.
I would say they're almost like it's.
Dude, the drums are awesome. The bass player is just as good as this bass player. It's fucking great.
It's the drums. Not even sometimes. It's the solos, how erratic they are. They're very Slayerish, where they're just chaotic. And then there's
always emphasizing on the four too. It's like bah! You know, it's like it threw my head for a spin trying to learn these songs compared to like learning the Anthrax, and that's why I was like, we fucked up when we put these together. It would have been easy just to learn one crazy 80s style of metal because it is a little bit harder to learn these older songs. They're just
it's their formations because
it's their formations. It's harder to hear. You know what I mean? It's like
a
I
lot
don't get all the pieces, and you have a really good bass player in all these bands or both of these bands, and it covers up a lot of drums when you have bass that's that like well heard. It's not a bad thing at all. It's the best part of both of these bands, in my opinion.
Like the technicality of thrash is that it's kind of underrated, but it's like the songwriting in that, like, you know what I mean?
So underrated. Yeah, it's
like breaking down these songs, you can see the pieces and how well each one goes together and how simple it is, but also like it just goes to the at the time what everyone's trying to do and go for. You know, you hear like the Anthrax thing and it's like really fast and like I don't know, just really thrashy, right? But then the Celtic, it's really doomy. All the riffs are like slow and just like
sometimes it sounds like there's a keyboard in the background. You know what I mean? It sounds like there's an organ.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is darker, and I believe
it's like a darker approach to it.
And the way they look, their aesthetic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The way they look on stage compared to the way that
Anthrax.
like Anthrax looks. Anthrax like almost it's the same like thrash. Like check this out. These jeans. These
got
jeans
some
are
ripped up jeans.
A cool band shirt.
Yeah.
Just long hair.
Yeah.
With some tennis shoes.
Yeah.
What up?
That's Scott Ian.
That's
the Scott Ian Halloween costume. You want to be him for Halloween?
I don't get the chin.
That's
beard. It's like I gotta have some hair, you know. I kept looking at it.
But you used to have long hair though. That's what seeing the old Anthrax.
And I guess it just started falling out. And you're just like, soon as it started thinning, you're not gonna be that guy that's like holding on, right?
The dude from fucking was it Strapping Young Lad?
Devin Townsend. He'll just grow it out.
That dude, Strapping Young Lad, he's like balding on top, but he's like got.
That is Devin Townsend.
That is not Devin Townsend.
Yeah.
What?
It's his band.
What?
That's what I was telling you. I was like, he looks crazy in that band.
Because he's got dreadlocks.
Might have to rewatch.
Yeah.
I just saw the video of him just like long hair, bald on top, and like
Well,
long
it does say
facial
Devin
hair.
Townsend here, but I swear there was somebody in that band that had dreadlocks and was like,
There's a lot of people in that band. All his shit is like the same. He just calls it something different. I think Strapping Young Lad is definitely, it sets itself apart from any Devin Townsend project. Or wait, we're way off track. What are you even doing? All right, back to Anthrax.
that is Devin Townsend. He used to have that.
Those
fucking,
dreadlocks. That's why his hair fell out.
he looked. Good thing he shaved. It looked crazy.
You see a couple other pictures where he looks like Satan, dude.
I'm glad he did that.
Like put hoofs on him, and he would look like Satan when he's in Strapping Young Lad.
Devin Townsend's awesome.
He's the best.
I'm glad he for his look.
That's what happens. You just shave it. You're bald or you have long hair.
You can't have a mix.
There's really not an in between at this
funny.
time. You know what I mean? Everyone had long hair in all those. You know what I mean? So it was just, it's a part of it because you got to, you know, you're headbanging, and that's kind of like where some bands like always get like, I don't want to be like Joe Schmo just up there, just in my clothes. You know, I want to make it a presentation. I want to be like in a costume. I want to give the crowd something more. Yes, and not always. You don't always, you know. So it's great to have your, like, what it is supposed to be is this is where Anthrax lives, is your working man's class band, your down home, every man's band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly where they thrive, like in it, and they feel that way. There's been fights between all the members and everything, but
It seems like each one has their own, you know,
it comes with it.
quirky
You know what
personality
I mean?
and stuff. Yeah.
I mean the Joey and Joey and fucking Scott all the time, and then it was like Charlie and fucking Frankie all the time. And I watched the goddamn behind the music. Not once maybe twice. I can't remember if they ever mentioned the rhythm guitar player at all. Like he was just
Dan Spitz.
He was just there, just laying down tracks. Yeah. Or was he the lead?
I thought he was the lead.
I don't even.
Well, they
Tell
both
me,
switch
Chris,
off.
your guitar.
They both switch off like lead, but
he does not get any credit.
I think he does the lead.
Let's give him the gold star of the episode because he got no credit, and it's just like drama with drama, and Dan's just like woo, just crushing it, and he was totally left out of the behind the music because he didn't do drugs.
Also says he was an early member of Overkill.
That makes sense. I mean, that's where, you know, guitar players are made inside Overkill and Exodus.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where
they're like the breeding
ground, and then they're sent out to multiple thrash metal bands.
Yeah,
that's how it works. Or you can like learn from the
master. Testament.
Yeah,
Testament too.
Now, Testament. I would say.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people come from Testament.
Because that one guitar player is just like, keep up, boy. You know, like training the shit. Megadeth kind of used to do that, but now it's like the guy that needs to be in Megadeth has to be spectacular, like exponentially the best musician you've ever heard. Like he's just he just destroys. Like you can't have like someone trying to like learn how to be the master of thrash in that situation. Those fucking songs are too complicated.
They're so like they're complicated. The solos are intricate. You're dueling guitar stuff.
Why did these people make this shit this complicated? Like at least the Anthrax is more of your straightforward, but they do have a lot of pieces in between.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Even everyone started to do that as well. You know, and I guess because of the Metallica, just the structures that got like super pulled out to like 5-6 minutes. You know, when you could have just made it 3.5 minute song, but it got fucking stretched. So you had to add all these like little bits and pieces to really like keep it rolling. And I don't know why everyone did that. You know, it always made everything like 5-6 minutes. It goes on forever. There's so many pieces. Yeah. There was a point on both of these like albums where I was like, it's the same song. I thought it went to a different song there for a moment. I was like, holy shit. Because it went back to the
Celtic
riff.
Frost. Celtic Frost does the...
I'm about to walk out when it comes to that shit. I was like, we have to learn this?
Because they will start a song that's like in this drop, like on the down, just everything is so doom and gloomy, but then like they'll take a pause and it'll just pause for like a split second, and then a like crazy punk or thrash riff just comes out of nowhere. Like speed riff, and you're like, what the hell?
I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused. Yeah, I don't even know if we could play another song right now because I have no idea. like what to think. I'm just like, I could go. We could do literally Madhouse, and I could go straight into a Celtic Frost song out of nowhere, just on the drop of the hat, because that's what all these bands do. It's like pushing the limits when it comes to like how it works. You know what I mean? Like pushing the boundaries. Like fuck all that other shit where it's just like your super long verse, and then you have a chorus, and then it's like, it's like all that goes to hell when you're just like dun 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 dun.
So, let's do the
oh fuck
for
why don't you just give me that solo from fucking Madhouse?
well, I was gonna say the verse from Madhouse, the ringing out part.
What does the vocal sound like?
I don't know what he's saying on that part. Forearms around me. No. What is he saying on that part? I don't know. I'm like confused now.
All right.
No. Yeah, we'll do that part. Yeah, that part.
So let's talk a little bit about that part.
Yeah.
I thought it was super interesting that the first
That's
like
an 80s part right there. That's so 80s.
It's so I don't know if they had to do this because of how the vocals were approached to it, and they had to like shift the way it sounded. But as soon as that part comes in, it's like right after the verse, and it's like right where the vocals like and it's it opens up. Like there's two notes that just open up. It's like bah, I'll play a little bit. And then it goes back to that, you know what I mean? Like you think it's gonna be opened the entire time, but it's just like two that are open, then it's just like keeping this like, or more like,
Well,
it just kind of like, I didn't expect that, you know what I mean? And that's what made it a little complicated, where it's just like, like no wonder it would be confusing to learn this, because there's just like two notes that kind of like, or like, accent a little bit, if you will, and then it goes back to what it was.
What it
probably.
is supposed to. That's exactly what happens on the guitar too. Is as soon as that riff comes,
open.
Like, when it comes into that part that. Those first two are open. It rings out. It just kind of like.
And the drums just follow right along.
But it only happens that once, and it's in the very beginning, and you just get a taste, and then from the rest of the time, it's doing the, it's keeping that chuggingness, which is what we all love in the thrash world. So,
pretty much just that like, and then just that that strumming riff.
But that's
and then you're just waiting for the chorus.
A unique way to do that riff. It makes it real 80s because you ring out like that. It's like a thing, just and then, but then to throw in the chugs, you kind of bring it back to the hardcore.
Yeah, and I think that's just like I feel like we do that a lot in our songwriting too, but not like we're not doing it on purpose. It was kind of like more of like kind of a handicap, if anything. Because like if you just cut the bullshit and just get straight to it, it really does simplify the song to where it immediately gets in your brain. Like just hearing it the first time. I don't care how good of a musician you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some people, or I guess some people are just geniuses where they can process right away, but it takes a little bit of time to like let it come in, and you're trying to get to the masses with this. So I feel like on the next album, they really do just cut out all that like weird, unnecessary stuff, because they do it for the chorus of Madhouse too. There's two pieces in the chorus, and I was like, that's not necessary.
Yeah,
that was not necessary.
The song just builds. There's like there's the verse, which is that part that rings out like we're talking about, but then they go to like a post verse.
Yeah,
that's in that. That's that trapped in this nightmare part. Trapped in this nightmare.
Yeah, and then the drums go exactly with all the rhythms too.
Yeah,
which is weird.
What was it though? Yeah, and I probably played that like crap, but
I
we
was kind of getting you.
we
to try
both
to,
learned these songs.
Okay,
like,
we don't practice these like all week long to bring them to
No.
you. We're kind of like just listening to it and
We're
like
that
learning
good
offhand.
that we can just learn them the day of. No.
And I'm like really hoping for like failure on some end, because I'm like we could take all those failed moments and just
I
make
seriously-
a whole fucking.
I don't like to
Bloopers
learn.
reel.
I just behind the scenes. I don't like to learn them like early because I forget shit. But also, I mean, it's kind of a challenge to like
Learn it on the fly, plus enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like learning it right away, you're like in the moment. And
Yeah.
it's how I do research for episodes. It's kind of like I'll learn stuff throughout the week, but it's really the getting down at that like the morning of
when you learn
and
the
just
riff.
getting all the information.
Well,
So
yeah.
it sticks in my head. So I don't have a
Exactly.
sheet in front of me. I can't read.
You can also
the
forget
script.
stuff. Like if
Yeah.
you learn that riff, and you notice, or you learn that song and you notice something, you might forget it. 2 days later, whenever we do an episode. So I try to like at least learn them that day, maybe the night before or something. Just at least within a 24-hour frame of recording window.
And then sometimes you're lucky, and then we land on an album where like, I've
we already
played
know.
it.
Yeah. But no, these types of stuff where we're just learning it like brand new. I don't know any of these songs. I've learned them. Yeah, and same with you.
Yeah.
These Celtic Frost, but we love these songs, and so that's why they're like, I know how they go to a sense, to a degree.
I know how the Celtic Frost goes more because this was an album we got like when we were like doing our thrash metal gorehound days, you know what I mean? So it was like all that shit was in our wheelhouse, and we loved like these first three. I would say like these first two Celtic Frost albums. There's like two that I really love.
I love them all, honestly.
Really?
But
I mean, those are where I stood because again, it's like the Anthrax where I keep listening to another album and I'm like, I want to go back to these, and it's just I'm just not giving it enough of a chance.
Yeah,
really.
there are some that are, maybe better than others, but I've just looking through. I mean, the other day when I was just going through the albums, I was like, God, I like this one. Oh, that one's awesome too. Just because of the album covers, I was like, oh, I remember that one. Oh, that one's cool too. It's like, they're all pretty good to some degree.
Did you can we just out of nowhere play that SOD song?
Which one?
Whatever happened to Celtic
my
Frost?
Is it true that they got lost? That's that's some 6 Degrees whatever type of shit. That's funny you bring that up because that's this band Anthrax talking about Celtic Frost.
I know it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
But is it?
And that's why we did this
How
episode.
many of these bands were there where they were kicking ass this way, where they're known because they are kicking ass?
Yeah.
It's not like people had the internet and you could just put it up and everyone see it. It's like your shit had to like travel across the sea. None of this shit was on the radio even. So you don't have that. You have to have someone with the mixtape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, check this out. And like hardcore fans will find that music, There's always one guy that's like just collects music and then just keeps burning like, the master tape onto other tapes and just giving them out to your friends. That was the time for it, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's probably how it was known. And I said that because of like that weird music video of Celtic Frost in the 90s. And I was like, no. It was like Danzig. I think he was trying to like shift to the time.
It's just so weird. It's like trying to be too dark. Like it almost comes off as corny to some degree because like
it's supposed to be.
But it's supposed to be, But that's why you have like that divisiveness in metal.
When they take it serious, though, I think it's when they've made comments like an interview or anything like that. The pre-game fucking script or the after show. Like how was it out there? He's like, I just want to thank Satan, and everyone that came out. That he said kind of like something dumb or like arrogant, but again, like. Who the fuck knew back then? You know what I mean? No one had publicists, really. A publicist? I think I said that right. Right? No one telling them to be like, hey, that's dumb. Don't do that. You know what I mean? That's kind of like gonna. There's like some Slayer stuff that's questionable.
At that time, it's like your publicist is probably like
80s. I don't. You can't
exactly. It's
defend
still
it,
the Wild West
but yeah.
as far as like probably thrash bands because we're trying to all figure it out. We're trying to like what flies, what doesn't fly.
Every one of these stories are the same. No.
Even the album cover for this album's kind of a little controversial. You know what I mean? It could be interpreted different ways.
MTV said it was condoning to mental unhealth. So they pulled the video of Madhouse. Yeah.
The album did really well critically, though. It got wide acclaim, and people were saying, Kerrang! Said it's one of the best.
Which one? What are we talking about? Anthrax still?
Anthrax. Okay. One of the best examples of thrash metal around, and equaled Anthrax to Metallica in the way they write songs. Other modern reviews today are also really praising it, just for everything. It's gotten pretty good scores across the board. So
it's a great album.
It's a great album.
That's why I kind of want to start with it as well.
Yeah.
No offense to Celtic Frost. I just feel like these guys are on a different playing field when it comes to musicianship.
Well, even just the speed, like.
So I wanted to get it out the way.
Let's do that. Let's do that thrash riff in A.I.R. The speed, the fast one. Do 4 of those or something, because that's a good example of like that's thrash at this time. Like that solo that comes in, everything about that part.
The beat, really, the drive, all of it. It lines up perfect. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, I counted it off kind of weird.
No, it's good.
For whatever reason, I always want to hold out. Look at this. I just want to hold out those drives a little bit longer. He's like.
And then they get really fast too. They like. I think he starts speed picking it at some point where it's like. Like it's really fast instead of that,
And the double bass is coming in and out, in and out, in and out. You know what I mean?
Oh, that part's so awesome. And that solo is just blisteringly fast and just comes in. And then the way that song is structured too, it kind of reminds, it's some like SOD type shit, right? Because it's like that. No, I mean when it pauses for the vocals.
Oh,
it's very like. The music is in between the vocals. It lets the vocals breathe and do their thing.
It's almost like does the whole band stop there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hold it out.
But it's such like a short pause and such a well heard ring that it's very unnoticeable that the band just stopped like that fast. You know what I mean?
And then like the bass will do like a weird little fill. Or somebody will do like drums will do a fill to come back in. It all happens so fast, but
I think it's like still the hi-hat still rolling there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
probably.
Yeah,
you're right.
And then that's why I was like, because I was learning it because it literally I can count it off from that.
Yeah,
because it would be almost impossible. If that wasn't there, that just like a little tap.
Sing it in your head. But that's a great example of like how fast you can they milk that riff. That riff is not only the speed thrash riff, but then they just do that same riff and just hold out the parts for the singing. And then whenever they go back, they literally go back to it, the thrash part.
Yeah.
They go back and then they do that. Welcome to your.
Nightmare.
That part. They do that, and that's such a like, I don't know.
Yeah, I love the flutter on the double bass.
Yeah.
When it's like
it's almost very Maiden like welcome to
it's
like
because like think about all the influences you would have at this point. It has to be shit like that. We all love Black Sabbath. But you also have to talk about like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. You know what I mean? Because they were like doing this shit before any of y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So hail to the Kings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to point one thing out on that song, just to like that other point of like how their songwriting is. In that song, they do something really cool with that intro riff that. They do that in the very beginning, right? But then whenever it breaks down into like this, they speed it up and they use that riff as a breakdown riff. Now it's fight for what you see. You know that part. They
that easy. Yeah.
They sped it up. It's the exact same riff.
You just need like 2 riffs.
Yeah.
You just need like 2 or 3 riffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just keep using them.
Yeah.
Don't try to make like a whole bunch of riffs.
No.
Like just 2 or 3. And then like
but
keep
little
jamming
pieces
on it.
Yeah.
What you should do if you want to write a good song is you should have those 2 riffs, and then you and half of the band, I'd say just like this, like me and you, it's perfect.
You just experiment.
Yeah, and then just, kind of like play it this way, play it that way,
Mm-hmm.
play it slow, play it fast, and then, or stay on the same tempo, like, and just do what you do for the first one, and then keep trying to change it up every 4, every 2, and add a piece. So you'd be like, oh, what if we just like paused and let it ring and then bring it right back?
Mm-hmm.
Pause, let it ring, bring it right back. Fucking duh.
Yeah.
And that's probably.
That's some industrial writing type shit.
That's kind of
Just
like
play the riff 1,000 times and we'll come up with stuff over it, and it just.
And in the age of technology, the most simple things about learning music are lost. You know what I mean? Because this is something that was embedded in everyone back in the day, because everyone gathered around the radio. But before the radio even, there was people just playing music in their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had to know how to sing really well. Everyone really sung. Someone played the piano, another instrument. That's the form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has it inside them. So like, no one is that dumb that they can't learn this. It's stuff like that where it's like, you don't need to overthink it.
No.
You play those 2 riffs back and forth, and those little things that you didn't realize until now. It's like everyone can sing. You just have to relax your throat and let vocal vibrations come through. You might have a different range than most people, but there's no one that can't really sing unless you have something really wrong with your throat. There's the exception. But yeah, we're learning this more and more. We're gonna be great musicians.
It's a great
when
example
we're 40.
of like just writing and like not taking everything to where everything needs to be different and change. It's just milking those riffs for what they can be.
Yeah,
and like I think we should do that more with our own music, because it's what our pasts have done. But
and it makes things addictive.
Yeah,
it's addictive.
But it's also familiar because I think the listener unknowingly recognizes that riff.
He
They're
definitely
like,
does.
oh, like you don't notice it that, hey, they did that in the beginning, but subconsciously you're like, oh, I recognize it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
That goes for like some asshole that's just like a prodigy drummer out of nowhere. Be like, I just get it, and I've only been playing for a year, and just like totally smokes me. But it's like something that was like wired in your brain where it's just like the pieces just lined up perfect, and that's kind of what it is. Some people have to work on it or work at it, really, and then some people are just born with it. You can't learn talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And definitely there's a lot of talent in this band all the way around.
Definitely.
Shared across the board, all 5 members.
Definitely. Who's your MVP?
For this album?
Yeah.
The fucking rhythm guitar player that I can't even remember the name of. Or the /lead.
Yeah. Dan
Spitz. Fucking Spitz, dude.
Yeah, Spitz, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he
kept
does
his fucking head down
yeah.
trying to make a fucking paycheck, man. What the fuck is wrong with everyone? Oh, you got some problems with someone? You can't fucking put it aside? Like, fucking, what the hell ever, man? Go on the other side of the bus. Go do something that would cool you off. Like, what is so wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know.
To round out this album, you got Madhouse was the single, the only single. And then you have, it was recorded in 85, doesn't have a date, but at Pyramid Sound Studios in Ithaca, New York. So yeah,
Mega Force Records.
Mega Force / Island Records. Yep. That's about all we got on that one. I mean, there's more we could go into that the lyrics
Whole
of this
thing,
album,
yeah.
the way like Scotty and constructed everything.
Dude, the behind the music
Is
just
insane,
skipped over
yeah.
this album. And then
So-
they had Spreading the Disease. And then they started working on their best album of all time.
And then that brings us to Celtic Frost,
Mega.
to Mega Therion. And this is their debut album. And like we said, it came out 3 days, right? 3 days difference.
Across the pond.
Yeah, but if you're, if you're a fan, your record store,
Yeah.
you're telling them, "Hey, get me that. I want the good shit." And
Yeah.
that guy's getting the imported Celtic Frost, and you're going to the record store and you're getting that shit.
So for
Well, he doesn't even know. It's gonna be like, "Hey, I just got this band in. It's the
For-
first time." So
What album is this for Celtic Frost? Third, second,
their debut.
debut. So
That's why,
to
yeah.
hear that is like, I don't know if any of these records would ever travel back and forth, but they did somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The debut of both these bands, really? It's like,
Yeah.
let's just ship it over to England and see what happens. But that being said, they used to like market to like, they would try it in England first and then bring it over to America. So there could have been a little bit of that. Because that's
Yeah.
the story of Jimi Hendrix. That was the story of Nirvana. That was in '92. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's not uncommon that stuff would have already been there or gone back and forth because of that reason as well. And again, if we sat down and put all these bands on paper, how many metal bands were around in 1985,
yeah.
we might get like 50. I would be surprised. There's probably a lot of bands that are just like, someone out there is screaming at their stereo and they're like, what? There's so many. No, I don't know.
So yeah, October 27, 1985 it was recorded September 14th through the 28th. So what was that? 2 weeks. Recorded in 2 weeks. In 1985 at Casablanca Studios in Berlin, Germany. They're on Noise Records.
Are they a German band or an English band? 'Cause that changes sound as well,
Yeah, let me see. We go to their they're
Wikipedia.
a Swiss band.
Oh my God, not
Swiss.
even. No. Right there in the middle.
So yeah, they produced by Horst Mueller, Tom G. Warrior, and Karl Walterbach. And then cool.
Cool last name.
Warrior is your last
Yeah.
name. Yeah, Tom G. Warrior, guitars, vocals, co-producer, assistant engineer. Dominic Steiner, bass. Reed St. Mark is drums, percussion. And then that's basically the main band. And then they had additional members come in and do the French horn on stuff. Wolf Bender.
That's what that was.
Martin Ayen did some bass. Reed St. Oh, sorry, I already said his name. Claudia Marie Morcori did vocals. Horst Mueller did sound effects. And then Horst Mueller also did the production, mixing engineer. Rick Lights, assistant engineer, and Carl Walterbach, executive producer. And that's basically everybody for that album. So a little bit more of a, are they calling us? Is that Twitch, YouTube? Stop playing that music.
I had it on silent. I just don't know how it went through. I think because of the headphones are still plugged in. I have it like on standby.
When you plugged it in and turned it off, it like...
Yeah. I'm going to blame that for sure.
Yeah. And all songs are written by Tom G. Warrior, so he wrote everything.
It says man.
Yeah, band, man.
It says band, man. I thought he was a standalone singer. In my head, that's what I always thought when I heard this band, you know what I mean? Because all those people are just like, supposed to have like this epic personality.
Yeah,
I mean,
only that Claudia
like,
looks like she did the only one that did vocals. But still, I mean, and that was only on like a few songs.
Yeah, who does those high pitch? I don't know.
That's her.
That's okay. Okay. Thought so.
And yeah, speaking of that, so the song starts with Innocence and Wrath, which is like a minute-long sort of like intro. It's just like this sound effects. It's like building the tension of like what's about to boom, boom. Yeah. And then we get into the Usurper, which is got that riff You can play it.
Oh my god, I don't. Let's butcher something.
So that one, yeah.
So play.
Remember that? So that's the intro. We'll run through what it sounds like right here. This is like how the album starts. So it's
So weird.
so weird, yeah. Oh, it's bound to happen eventually. All right, let's do it. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna play that because then
the wheels started to turn for me.
Yes.
I was like still in the realm of Anthrax, and that's why I was like, we fucked up when we put these together, and this format does not fucking work. Nah, I'm back, baby.
I'm back. So yeah, that's how it starts. But then just to break down the song, because this song is layers of like insanity.
I would have to write this down if I wanted to learn the entire thing, because I'd just get fucking lost.
Yeah.
Without the vocals, I would get lost. But
yeah.
with the vocals there, it kind of like leads the map a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
He has the craziest voice, like like it's like I don't know how to even.
I'm gonna sing around me down.
Hey. Like it's like
Hey.
Hey, but it's like I
It's
can't
like
even
across the room too. He's like,
I can't
hey!
mimic it because I'm just making myself look like an idiot and sound like an idiot.
If anyone tried to mimic the way he sounded, they would sound like an idiot. So if you're gonna cover this song, you do your own style of vocals. Don't. That's like when we were learning the Black Flag song. It's like you have to like make your own parts for certain parts of the Black Flag because you're not gonna that guitar was detuned. You're not gonna make that same sound. I don't even know what he did on drums there because it's so fucking cluttered. You know, it's like there's no way in hell.
Oh man.
Because when I looked up covers of this and it's all a little bit more polished up than this. You know, it's supposed to sound like this. You know what I mean? I love it, but it does sound better. I assume it would just be so much more epic live because of just like the power would be there. You know?
Yeah.
And in most of those recordings, I don't get it. Like, there's really no like, ooh, you know.
He does.
It's a little hollow, a little tinty. It's hard to learn on headphones.
Vocals, everything, because it's just the way that black metal was supposed to sound, like in a hallway.
Is it black metal?
That's what they said.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean it's categorized as black/death. I mean it's very
They are
dark.
Swedish, right?
Yeah. But that it's that type of style where it's like those riffs that. Like with my guitar tone, it sounds like a thrash kind of riff, and like us playing it. But like when you just soak that shit in reverb and make it sound like a haunted castle or something, like I don't know.
Sounds old and vintage, like if a vampire was playing it. Back in the
I don't know
1600s.
how they captured that sound, but it really does sound like that. And like some of those like that type of weird shit.
I get lost.
Yeah, I know. It's like
because all the drums are like this too. It's like out of nowhere on that one. I was like, what the fuck timing was that? You made up timing. And I know you play it different live because you don't remember how you did it there.
Yeah. And then
but with the Anthrax, it was probably well more planned out. You know what I mean?
That we're on the second piece of the song, and then the third piece is the even crazier that
we're going higher.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Just keep going. And that drum part does that too. It's like, what the fuck is he doing with his hands? So many people played it so many different ways.
Because it's got that triplet sort of like offbeat. It's it's like weird, or even double or whatever it is. Yeah,
loves like I said on the four. It's like always like you know.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
I think they were just like going, you know. I'm pretty sure a lot of it was recorded all in the same room in a live setting.
Well, 2 weeks. I mean,
exactly. this was all probably just off the cusp, you know?
We probably had a lot of this already written since it's their first out. You know what I mean?
I would say it would be loosely based, I'm sure. I think they went over it, like, maybe time and time again when it came to these, like, the 2 songs that we learned.
Yeah.
Everything else is a little bit more straightforward on the album besides for these. Monstrosers. Like, I gotta use the wrong word there because I'm just, like, kind of dumbfounded by it.
Next part, he gets pretty, like, okay. Like, not okay, but, like, chill with it, where it's like that. You know, that part, where the actual singing comes in. So does he has his way. Yeah, that part. That I think is that the first time vocals come in? So that's the first time you're introduced to like the way the vocals are kind of and then goes right that those layers just repeat themselves, but then he's building on them. You know, we get that weird.
The second go around, it changes.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Like the second pass on this, like that's when things get a little tricky, you know. And if we broke it down, we wrote it like verse, chorus, verse, and like this part pops out of here, out of nowhere. We probably have we just have to do it one time and look at it and be like, got it, you know. But like trying to think about all the different parts as we're trying to think about like our instruments at the same time, no.
That part with the high vocals that.
I love it. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
that's supposed to be there.
These vocals come out of nowhere. These like high, like it's so awesome. It's like one of the only times.
You love it? I don't.
I think it's cool because it's like one of the only times on the album. It is cheesy and corny, but I like it because of that.
The last song has a lot of them too.
Where it's just like, it's that,
yeah,
and. I don't know. I get what he was trying to do. I don't think he did it. I don't think he succeeded. I don't think it like really worked. Like I think
they were like, okay, whatever, man, just cut it
because it's so weird. It comes out of nowhere.
Producer's like, I don't
compared to how the rest of the vocals are,
it just doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
It's so weird. I like it because
it's very like King Diamond, you know.
Yes.
But at the same time, isn't everyone just copying everyone in this place? You know what I mean?
And see, I think that's where like he's doing this like almost like I don't want to say punk rock vocals because it's just kind of like
it's their first album.
Yeah. Just keep going.
You're
back
allowed to make some mistakes that you can look back and be like.
Not even that. Just be experimental. Where it's like, let's do this. Let's do this. Like,
you don't have the voice for it, man. And no one told him, but he was like, "I'm keeping it in there. You got your money. What do you care?"
I bet
like,
the first time
because it sounds weird, man.
You heard that.
And I like the song.
Dude, that song just gets crazier and crazier. That when it gets to that punk rock part, it just get the solos. The solos in this one, we talked about Anthrax.
Out of nowhere.
Anthrax blistering solos. Anthrax's solos are like weird and like crazy, like weird, like thrash stuff. Whereas like the Celtic Frost ones are like they're just like. It's just the craziest solo type shit.
It comes out of nowhere too. It's just like
and they're bends. They're I don't have a whammy bar, so I can't do it. But there's just like at that time he's got one. And
the coolest part in the song, dude. I was like,
it just sounds like.
And the I don't even know what the drums do. They just kind of like you know, it's like. But the bass is covering up.
It sounds like there's toms going on, like
I don't
something like that. On that.
I thought he was like double handing it,
maybe.
And anytime I ever saw it, someone was doing it on a crash, or I mean a China cymbal, you know?
Yeah, I think that dive comes in out of nowhere, and it kind of muddies everything up a little bit.
Yeah, so you can kind of
really
like
hear what the drums are doing at first.
And plus, it goes right with like the vocals because the guitar is not following that same rhythm. You know what I mean? At least when you play, I was like, that's not what I follow on, you know? Because, of course, like, we could play it right now, and we go right along with it, right? Like, play it all day. But when those vocals come in, the drums change with the vocals. And I think the bass player and the fucking drums, and maybe especially the drums, like really like makes it sound so awesome. You know, without that, I think it would be not as good.
Not as awesome.
He's double kicking the shit out of it, you know, and
Yeah.
that's again like everyone's trying to get to the double kick craziness and
Yeah.
weird patterns you're gonna do a double kick, and this guy is like taking it there. You know what I mean? So give it that too, because when it comes to any thrash metal band or metal per se, like your drummer has to be like
Unique
on
and
the
just,
playing
like,
field
yeah.
of other drummers in the same genre. You
Yeah.
know,
I
otherwise
think-
like you're fucked.
He does, whenever they get to those fast parts and they do like change the tempo up, he definitely can hang and is like, for this genre also.
I love his groove. He goes right with
Yeah.
it, dude. He's like, he's the moneymaker on
This
this
genre jumps tempos all the time. Black
Yeah.
metal, like it's supposed to be like, you know, going from like one tempo to the next and like kind of just going with the flow of the feel of the music. You know, sometimes you're blast beating and going really fast, and it's this, and then you're going right back into that.
Yeah, because
Dun.
the song we're like stuck in our heads right now, you know.
Usurper,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because at the
usurper.
yeah, is that how you say it?
Yeah,
At the end, it brings back in those organs and shit, or those horns. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It just totally turns into like
this big epic
yeah,
thing,
death.
and that's another thing that black metal does too, is like this epic, like grandiose. I was listening to Dimmu Borgir earlier today, and I was like, holy God, I forgot how like epic they were. Just like they're black metal, and they also do like simple riffs. Like if you learn the songs, you're like, these aren't really technically complicated songs, but it's just the atmosphere they
Yeah.
create. It's like, that's what it is. It's more
Yeah.
of an atmosphere. So it's,
And then the drums are just insane.
the drums are
They're
very
already
insane.
fucking
Yeah, they are
I can't
fucking
even get
Yeah.
close to it.
It's
you know?
insane. But this kind of shit, like you're saying with Celtic Frost, this is their first out. They're one of the pioneers, so they're like setting the pace, setting the tone for what black metal and death metal is gonna incorporate, like these types of styles.
Yeah.
And, like fast shit out of nowhere to just slow, like doomy, dun 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 dun, or like ticka 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 ticka. Like you could go either way with it, and they're doing something different with the metal than Anthrax is with the thrash,
Yeah.
or even the same genre, because they're both heavy metal bands. But
I'm just listening to the drums where it's like, it's the same. It's
Yeah.
the same,
yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Black metal, death
yeah.
metal, to
thrash metal to an
at
extent.
least at this
Yeah.
point, it was like very close to the same, and then the death metal drums are just like, has to be this way now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But black metal can still live in the realm of just like kind of setting back, and you don't have to like blast beat the whole time. You know what I mean?
They really
Yeah.
like took advantage of that, like sitting back and letting the like song and atmosphere take over.
All the Anthrax songs are like way faster than these songs. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's yes.
Yeah. This is all like 120 beats per minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what other riffs do we know of this song?
Of this song,
Or of this
of the
band?
album,
Yeah.
so that second, what was it? Jewel Throne. That one comes in. It's kind of different too, because it's got that. It's really.
Is that what I was referring to earlier?
Maybe this one's the one that's got really like.
Is this the song with the dive bomb?
Maybe. Yes, I think this is, yeah. Yes,
Kinda
it
getting
is.
them mixed up.
Yeah,
there.
we were, yeah. But, so this one also, the other one, Usurper, starts out kind of like up tempo, fast, whereas this one,
No, yeah,
Yeah.
this is, so I want to play this because this is like, I love this drum part. You know what I mean? This really is what I always think of when I think of Celtic Frost.
yeah. So wait, it does start on a pickup that the
And then
and that's when the dive bomb comes.
do it.
It's like yeah.
And then I think from there actually it only does that for a second, and then we have to go right back to the dun 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 dun, dun, you know?
Yeah, that's the next part. That's a whole nother part.
I assumed it was like almost fuck. See,
Yeah, the way they build their riffs are really clever.
Yeah, so all I can think of is like the sweet spot in every riff. You know?
That the next riff off from that is that. Yeah, so they do those three riffs back to back, and they're so Let's play it right here.
Yes.
So. I think I fucked that one up a little bit. Yeah.
I think we both were, because again, they're just like flip-flopping back and forth. So
yes,
essentially if we wanted to, we could just mock this entire song.
Yes.
Like all the way through and just take all the parts and put them where we would want them anyways.
Try it again. I think I got it right here.
You thinking of the vocals?
No, I was confusing the riffs because they they're back to back and they like blend into each other so well the way he wrote them. So
we're kind of yeah. How's it going?
Yeah. Yeah. And then that riff goes right back into the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, and obviously there's more flair here when it comes to the drums, but it's really only I can't represent it without having those vocals and that bass there because he plays off of those. He doesn't really play off the riffs. He's more of your traditional style of drummer at this point. You know what I mean? Which or definitely at this point. I don't know why I said that, but he has that's what it feels like, more of a classical trained background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's very clever where he like picks and chooses where he's gonna put things, and he sets himself apart from everyone else in the band too. To like really, like everyone else can do this, I'm gonna like really add flair to it. You know, like. I want to know more about him, but I don't know if we have time, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is he original member? Was he just added there from the record company that was like, you need a better drummer, you know what I mean? Or was he just always there?
Well, he's an American drummer, for one.
The fuck?
Yeah. He was in a band, a Swiss hard rock band called Crown, and then he joined Celtic Frost. He left the band in '88 and joined a funk metal band.
All over the place with his styles, man.
Yeah. Let's see.
So, maybe the original drummer? Because maybe at this point Celtic Frost was not even a thing.
He famously played with various trademarks, including rows of women's high-heeled shoes arranged on his drum set, and also played drum solos with oversized sticks.
What?
He had a very flamboyant drum style. So I don't know. For Celtic Frost, yeah.
Now, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
What?
Reed St. Mark. Go check out a video if you can find of this guy.
I do some solo episodes here. Set up a Patreon, and I just learn about the weirdest people.
Yeah.
Shoes?
Know your drummer. Women's shoes around his drum set, so probably like props. Like,
sounds creepy as shit. And you're like, he's very flammable. And I was like, what?
Big oversized sticks like Cheech and Chong or something.
Yeah. I thought Venom did that. Oh my God. It's weird.
Well, I'll finish up some of the like facts production stuff with the reception. It was received very well for being their first album. 5 out of
That's kinda
5,
surprising.
8 out of 10.
Not because I don't love the album. It was surprising that right away it was like well received.
Yeah, they said it was a bombastic.
What?
The bombastic song, the first intro, sets off the album to an appropriate note. Sorry, there's horn lines, booming drums, a crunch toward the apocalypse, and it sets the tone. And then they go right into the Usurper, and they said the Usurper alone is worth the price of admission. An awesome display of Warriors' knack around brute power and unexpectedly memorable riffs. Yeah.
Yep. They nailed it on that one.
That's a great way to, and then another says,
very catchy riffs. Great songs.
It remains one of death metal at its finest.
Yeah. And I love it because I think we knew about Celtic Frost because of the thrash metal bands. You know, they were like, you have to listen to this. You know what I mean? So it was like bands like Sepultura that were like covering some of these songs, you know? And so on and so forth. Whereas like, it was in the realm, and I think that's how we were able to find it. Because there was, there was so much shit even around back in 2000 and whenever, we found this, in 2004, 2005. There's still a lot of albums, Shit gets lost.
Well, yeah.
You're like, you've never heard of Pentagram?
Like we were saying, this is kind of like a point in metal where things are about, like, just coming out, right? Like, hair metal's kind of on the way out a little bit. It's only got a couple more years left.
It has a lot left. It's going to be the other side of the coin.
89.
It's the other side of the coin. Yeah.
Guns N' Roses / Nirvana, 90s.
Well, yeah, maybe you are right about
so
that.
It's like
so
we're
everything's getting to a blistering fast rate, and if you're not changing, then then you're kind of
at this point of
up.
October, we're about to go into 86. So hair metal's probably only got a couple more years. I've been looking at the album releases of stuff, and it's like
I think like at this point it's on the downfall, like hair metal, and then by like 87 we're like not seeing the best albums or performances from those bands back in the early 80s. You know what I mean? So it's like the times are shifting, the sound is shifting, and definitely by 89, dead.
I forget which year it is, but I know next month, I think, or the month after was Motley Crue's first album. So, I'll look up the exact time, but because the year does matter. But just to know, like, these albums, if it was remotely around the same time, they're coming out around each other, like,
Yeah. So, I'm curious to seeing what we have for next month. You said it was kind of slim pickings.
Yeah, the end of the year is kind of weird for music releases.
November is not probably the best time to put an album out. You might as well go for October or December if you're rock and roll.
November 10th,
we don't really talk about anything else.
1981. So 81 was the first Motley Crue record. So, and then you get, and then literally 4 years later, we get death metal, black metal.
Yeah.
With Celtic Frost. So.
At least, like, the Crue had the look of being, like, really extreme metal. And I love a lot of those songs, too, because they did pick up the pace and still kept it on, like, track for, the public domain, if you will. I don't know, but I wanted to say, like, for all the other type of metal fans, I don't know. On the other side of the coin, we do have the thrash. And then... not even that well known out. I keep hitting my mic stand. Out there across the sea, black metal's like coming up. You know what I mean? And then they also had their own thrash metal bands coming out at this time too. Germany, the UK.
Wasn't Sabaton or something like that? Wasn't that one of those bands?
There was so many of them where I couldn't even.
Yeah.
I'm just like Creator.
Creator.
Creator. They're German, and that makes sense when you like see all the. If you just looked at like the regions of like metal and like what bands are, because sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
Because no one has an accent really when you're singing. Not always. It's very rare, I would say. In the metal world, like if you're screaming, you know, I don't know if you have an accent, you know, after you're done. Like, everyone sounds kind of the same when you're screaming. You know what I mean? So, I don't even know what to go out on because I got like 50 songs rolling around my head, and I don't think ever again are we going to do a back-to-back episode if we're going to play it like this. We better be doing something very easy.
Yeah.
Fucking...
You know, again, we're
two
trying different
stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
we're maybe something like that.
Because a lot of bands would pull out like they would just like work like clockwork. So they would have like, just say like Metallica would be like, oh, like most of these albums are in the same month, and you have to kind of pick from. You know what I mean? Sometimes it really does work out like that.
Yeah.
So you can always put those back to back.
Maybe this might be the last dual episode. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. We can end it on some Celtic. We'll play the Usurper, that how the song intros.
Give me a little.
And then we'll go into the yeah. We'll fade out with that. Yeah, we'll fade out with the Usurper.
All right.
We'll play the song.
Thank y'all for listening.
Yeah, we got other stuff coming up. Our plugs.
Follow us on YouTube and Spotify, and then I don't really care about anything else. At BANGover Productions. Go
Twitch.
to Spotify, YouTube, and Twitch. Yeah,
And Twitch.
Those three. Fuck everything.
Halloween streaming.
Yeah. So Halloween streaming, we'll leave a link up on our page that you can find on fucking Facebook. And if you go over and type in BANGover ATX, you can find it there. But we'll be posting on everything else. You just type in BANGover. You can Google search that shit by this point. We're going to pop up one way or another. You know what I mean? And again, if you didn't watch the video, please watch the video. It's probably a little bit more entertaining. You know?
Yeah.
I think so.
Kind of see our new space that we're working in. So.
Yeah. And if there's any local bands here in Austin that are listeners, come and check out Manslaughter Studios. It's on the corner of Manchaca, and they changed the name. I don't know how to say it. Manchaca and Slaughter. So it's a little south, but if you're south, it works out perfect. We got 2 rooms. This is the small one, and we got a bigger one over there. Big old guy. And you know, if you need help with music videos, recording, or just need a place to practice that's a little bit cheaper than everyone else, hit us up. Hit us up. And, yeah, we play ourselves out. Oh, yeah, and Halloween after party, 11 p.m., Twitch. We're trying to go a little bit later because everyone will be streaming that day some stuff. But
yeah,
we still got our sponsorships. We still got, like, our games to play. And, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. All right, thank y'all.
Later.
How's it?
That digga digga dan digga. Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought.